Good morning. I would like to talk about today about application of new potential application of SPIONs for diagnostic purposes. Normally I'm talking about in vivo diagnostic application, but nowadays we focus also on in vitro diagnostics. Now, what are we doing in Erlangen is the following. We do have the option in Erlangen to synthesize nanoparticles, iron oxide nanoparticles. We do characterize them. We are addressing nanotoxicology. We do have a bunch of biological mechanisms to test the particles which are synthesized. And then we are performing also animal experiments, and we have an operation theater there where we can attract iron oxide nanoparticles with external magnetic fields inside body compartments. We do have access to pharmaceutical production. Of course, digital laboratory documentation is obligatory nowadays. And what we are addressing with these particles is imaging, oncology, cardiovascular diseases, regenerative medicine, infectious diseases, and molecular communication. But in this talk, I would like to focus on a diagnostic tool, two applications we do want to show you now. Now, iron oxide nanoparticles are all over, in rust, for example, in paints, and they are significant magnetite, mechamide, or hematite in the nature or in visible. And due to the fact that the pandemic, which was really a difficult time for all of us, we thought together with colleagues and physicists in Würzburg, maybe we can improve the diagnostic procedures for detecting antigens or antibodies in blood vessel in people suffering from, for example, corona. The conventional in vitro diagnostics, as you know, antigen quick test, everybody knows it, they have a very low sensitivity, and they are supplied in everybody has a low sensitivity. RNA detection, RT-PCR, which is really very good, is highly sensitive, but you have to have several working steps. Probe logistic is necessary, and the duration is several hours. And as we know, it's always important, especially during the pandemic, to have in a quick time real results from the investigation. Or, for example, ELISA is several working steps are necessary. We have intensive probe logistic is necessary. It's quite expensive, and the duration several hours. So what we thought is, and it's not brand new, but to use iron oxide nanoparticles for in vitro diagnostics, but they require always, as I see here, a byte structure. Now, you see here iron oxide nanoparticles. We can cover this with different coatings, and what we normally do is applying a drug or on the surface of these particles, but what we do is the following. Magnetic particle spectroscopy is analyzing the magnetic behavior under an alternating magnetic field. That means you have here on the left side an iron oxide nanoparticle. If you apply this alternating magnetic field, then the iron oxide nanoparticle is moving in a vibration behavior. If you add something on the surface, then the behavior of these nanoparticles are different. And for example, if you do place here an antigen to potentially detect antibodies, then you see here that the behavior of the magnetic particles is different. And this is an option. This allows for complete binding partners to be detected. This is the main object of this investigation we did. And as you can see, here is a non-linearity of oscillation behavior SPIONs in an alternating magnetic field. You know, I'm a physician, and I do explain you now a little bit physics, but I'm not an expert in this field, to be honest with you. But together with the colleagues in Würzburg, we delivered this. These are the harmonics, which is with particles with this spectroscopy. And we developed now critical compass, critical point offset magnetic particle spectroscopy. That means the following. We have here, this is the apparatus, this is a permanent magnetic field, and we place this permanent magnetic field over the alternating magnetic field. That means you see here And compared to the other, if you do only apply an alternating magnetic field, if you do place in addition, in parallel, a permanent magnetic, you have sinus waves. And this sinus wave gives us now the option to see whether the particles have a different behavioral mutation on the right side. Yeah, and as all the physicists, they are very intelligent guys and they are very practical. They combined this compass machinery, and what we can see here is the following. What we did is the following, that the particles had an antigen, a spike antigen from corona on the surface, and we placed these particles into blood or mucosal swab or saliva with people suffering from corona. And what we could see is that we could detect here, on the left side you see the sample, the antibodies in the blood compared to the reference where there was a total different signal. So with this machinery, with this compass machinery, it was possible to have a portable and scalable and easy to use machinery. It's very fast. To detect the antigen or antibody in blood takes at least 1 minute, and it has a high sensitivity compared to standard IV techniques. We were able to publish these results last year in Nature Communication. We're very happy, and the colleagues in Würzburg, they are now funding a company to implement this machinery also in the clinical use. So it was a combination between the apparatus on the one side and our particles on the other side. Now, a second diagnostic tool is sepsis. You know, sepsis is an inflammatory process. About 50 million people are developing sepsis a year over in the world, and about 11 million people are dying. And the biggest problem in sepsis is to detect the bacteria, the specific bacteria in quite in a certain time, because the amount of particles in the immune response is causing a multi-organ failure very often. Therefore, the people are dying from the multi-organ failure. And the problem is it takes a long time to really cultivate the particles, because you have to take a blood out and you have to make a blood culture. And what we did is the following, that we developed particles, as you can see here. They are functionalized on the surface. They can attract bacteria or toxins, and we could, with this compound, can be extracted from the specimen. And the reason for this is that we can cover these particles with a special protein saliva, which is common in all of us, and they are very specific for bacteria in this field. And what you can demonstrate is the following, that here we synthesize particles, SPION abscess particles, with the saliva protein on the surface. And what you could detect is that we can synthesize this very stable, and they are stable also in fluid. And this is the procedure. On the one side, you do have the pathogen in the containing sample. You add the particles with a special coating. Then you attract the compound, that means the particles with the bacteria, and then you can have a very high concentration. And what you can see is here on the left side, if you have a container with LPS, and you do apply our particles with a special magnetic, with the external magnetic field, you can lower the interleukin detection here. That means that we can really extract the particles from the container. And this is the bacteria, but we can part of the bacteria. On the other side, we can also attract the particles in the bacteria in total. That means with the magnetic particles and the external magnetic field, we can extract the total bacteria also from the blood. This is here also shown that about up to 60% were able to be extracted from the blood fluid. Hopefully I could show you now that with nanoparticles, they are fully cytochrome compatible. They show very interference with host structure, no interference with them, and it could be really, we could lower the time frame, which is normally 48 to 72 hours, to have the knowledge about the specific bacteria which are causing the sepsis in the blood. We could lower this to 30 minutes and published it last year in Biomaterials. I would like to thank my team, because without my team I couldn't do this. René Stein, he is here. Thanks a lot for being here. He has a wonderful poster, 23. And of course the funders and you for your attention. Thank you very much.